the morning, before the break of day, I ask the Lord to make me whole. He holds me, and the Lord keeps me. Joy in my soul. When I get weak, and I can't go on, thank you, Jesus. I feel all my hope, all my joy is gone. Late in the midnight hour, I talk to my God and He gives me joy in my soul. Thank you, Jesus. One of these old mornings, it won't be very long. You just might look for me, but I'm going home. Listen. I'm going up to glory. Oh, yes, I am. Well, I'm going to sing and shout, oh, joy in my soul. Can you help me sing joy? Joy. God's great joy. Singing like you made. Oh, joy in my soul. How many have joy this week? It is sweet, beautiful, soul saving. Joy in my soul. Do you know what I'm calling? Listen, the Master's joy. My Master, yeah. My Savior's joy. Yes, He is. You know what it is? The lily of the valley. Joy. Thank you, Jesus. Listen, Alpha and Omega. Listen, in the midnight hour. You know what He does? He gives me strength and power. Listen what I like. Listen. No food on the table. Thank you, Jesus. I know that He is able. And you know I can't find any words to say. You know what I'm saying? Hey. Oh, joy. He give you joy to see. Hey. Do you have that joy? My Savior's Lord, you've been good to me. You've been so good. I cannot tell it all. Lord, you've been good. You've been so good. I cannot tell it all. Lord, you've been good. You've been so good. I cannot tell it all. You've been so good. Yeah. Lord, you've been good. Cannot tell it all. When I think about it, I can heal my body. You've been mighty good. Yeah. Cannot tell it all. Hey. The Lord is good. He's a friend of mine. Yeah. I cannot tell it all. When I think about all of the ways he made. Yeah. Can I get a witness? Shout out good. Shout out good.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Oh, Lord.
Back on live, but it's still not all of a sudden, let's go live into the studio.
Hello.
And happy Monday.
Yes. Happy birthday, happy new year. This is our first time back for the new year.
It is our first time. You know, last week, Henry had COVID. And so I was exposed. And so I didn't want to come because I had not been tested, but I didn't have any symptoms. So I don't know if, I'm like asymptomatic or whatever.
So in other words, you're potentially dangerous.
That's always so. That's always.
But it's good to know Henry's doing okay.
Henry is, Big Hen is doing great.
Good. Good.
And it's interesting that he did everything that he was supposed to do.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, he did everything. He, he made sure he was tested. And then after he was tested, one of our, a doc called him in a Z-Pack, right away. And so, he was coughing.
What's a Z-Pack?
A Z-Pack is an antibiotic.
And isn't it Z stands for azithromycin?
Probably. I can't say that word. Oh, you can
She's not a doctor, but she plays one on TV.
Greater. No, I'm just asking. I'm not sure, but I thought that's what Z-Pack was short
Say it
for.
again. So say it again because you said that word so well.
Azithromycin.
Spell it.
Azithromycin.
AZRY. Why y'all laughing?
But he did so well with it, and seriously, but that I think that probably Henry had was it Orion? Is that what it is?
Omicron.
I think he had Omicron because he didn't lose his sense of smell or anything like that. But a lot of like coughing, like dry cough and everything, and so. In addition to that, I gave him a lot of vitamins. Like you did. I followed I followed Emily's lead with the elderberry syrup and the vitamin C
and the vitamin D.
Yeah, I did refer you to Dr. Emily.
Oh yeah. And then just so y'all know, and then he got really mad at me because I went real old school on him. I gave him some cod liver oil.
I knew it, that cod liver oil.
I gave him some cod liver oil. And my cousin, I ain't gonna say her name because I want her to go to jail.
Oh Lord!
Made him some cough syrup with vodka, and she let the vodka soak in let the like blueberry. I think it was blueberries or raspberries, but she let it like infuse in there. Then she drained it off, and then she put eucalyptus honey and
Ooh.
molasses, and then crushed up some peppermint candy and sent it to him. He was coughing the other night. He took that. He ain't coughed since.
We just like
telling
to do a disclaimer right now for some of the choosing of the words today. We're going to be using a lot of words that we're not saying properly, or nor do we know how to spell.
And you know what? And we don't even care, do we, John?
Absolutely not.
Right. Okay. And please seek the help of a medical professional.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
These are just remedies that we do for ourselves. So we're not here to diagnose, treat
right.
any condition. So please seek professional medical attention
And
if
by
you're
the
having
way,
any issues.
and y'all need to share, and share.
What should they share?
They should share the program.
Yeah, that's what we need to make sure they know what we're sharing. I mean, because they might just think we're wanting them to go and talk to people about anything, but we want them to share the All of a Sudden show.
Absolutely.
All
And
of a
you know, we
Sudden
just
radio
really
show.
we're gonna have a great time this year.
Now, but how can they share it? Where can they go and share it?
Well, when I'm asking them to share, it's from Facebook.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you got to let them know that when you say share, you don't want them to just go around to Kroger and Walmart and tell people, you need to watch the All of a Sudden show. What we want them to share is there's a button on Facebook for those who had just gotten for Christmas a Android or a iPhone, and you put your what do you call it, flip phone to rest, because some people got new phones for Christmas.
Stop it.
And they had flip phones, and so for those
you're
of
one
you,
of them, because didn't I just see you last time?
yeah, I just got rid of my flip
Okay.
phone in 2021.
Okay.
It's been a whole year since. But I still stand by. I never dropped a call on my flip phone.
But that's
them
all.
old phones did used to be on.
I'm just telling you.
Them old phones.
I never dropped a call.
Now call.
They never did, but that's all the phone would do, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't, and if you had to text, you had to remember the alphabets behind the, with the numbers and stuff.
But one thing
Good
about
old days.
but there wasn't as many divorces before texting, because you had to talk. But once you started, see, men, they were slow. They started texting, and they forgot that the text didn't just disappear. So 3 months later, their wives come and say, did you say, no, baby, I ain't saying nothing like that. Well, here it is right here in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, though? Johnny, sometimes I am just speechless, but that's not often.
That's it's
when did that happen?
Right. That ain't often at all.
During the radio show. When did that happen?
But I was speechless like last week. I didn't say anything.
That must have been the day that it was 2 suns and 2 moons that day.
You know what?
That anomaly that only happens every
there
1,200 years.
There we go again.
Or
anomaly.
every 3,000 years.
Anomaly. Yes, anomaly.
And Emily, and how would you spell that big word?
You know what? I'm not doing this with y'all today.
I told you, we are going to be showing off our linguistic talents today.
Indubitably.
Yes.
Wow, there was another big word.
Y'all go. You know what?
There was another big
I'm
word.
leaving. I quit.
No.
I'm kind of. I didn't get the memo. I see that you and Emily have the twist and things, and I didn't get my twist for the show, so I didn't get the memo, y'all.
But you are wearing purple, so I didn't get that memo. They're matching today, guys. Both of them have on purple, which ironically is my favorite color. So I feel like they kind of ganged up on me with this purple thing going on. You got Pop got the fresh beard. He got the fresh trim and everything. He even got the black hat on this time. He ain't even got the baseball cap. Something going on around here.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? I was just thinking how
let's call
much
a spade a spade.
Speaking of spades, I was just thinking about how I love chicken breast.
Now, you know what? Help him, Jesus. Help him, Jesus. Oh, help him. Because what does that have to do with anything?
And watermelon. I don't know.
Help him. It ggets worse.
In my mind,
does it get worse? From
I don't
chicken.
think it can get any worse from them Falcons to, but
Oh,
hey.
them Falcons are just
See what the Falcons would had a strategic season. They were putting themselves in a position to get a
lose?
high draft pick in the upcoming draft.
Okay.
That's the way we look at it now.
Well, that's the only way you can look. How else can you look at it? You know what? And don't be like stretching your eyes and stuff like that.
This is let me just ask a question here. Emily, are you from Houston?
No, I'm from Dallas.
Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Born and raised in Dallas.
And the Dallas Cowboys, I just want to get a prediction from you right now.
Oh gosh. Okay.
The Dallas Cowboys are in the playoffs.
Okay.
Do you think they will win a game in the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay.
You heard it first here.
All right. You know what? That is just Johnny. The other week, Emily, did you see the pictures of Johnny's car?
I did.
I was like,
he
wow.
is blessed to be here right now. You know, Johnny, we're blessed to have you. I was in, you know, on one hand, I was like, man, I get to have Johnny's seat because he's not gonna be here. But then I was like, dang, he survived. Hello, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony, what's up? Anthony said he predicted the Falcons
won't.
The Falcons never win a game.
But here's the deal, Anthony. I will bet you every penny, every dime you got that the Falcons will not lose this weekend. How about that?
Well, that's because they're not playing this
Doesn't
weekend.
matter. I'll bet you anything that your team has the possibility to lose. Mine doesn't.
You know what? That's just how. Let's just get on this call. Because when I saw the pictures first, you know, we do talk smack about Johnny, though. We really do. But we like Johnny. We love Johnny. And I was like, oh, my goodness. I he's talking about this wrecking thing. And I said, this is just grace.
Oh, no, it was God. Because I was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And I was in the fire.
How far
and
did you
didn't
go?
get burned. I was in it. Man, I was coming down this dark highway, side highway in Colquitt. I later found out I was in Colquitt, Georgia, on Interstate 202. Didn't realize it because when you're going through that route, like every 5 or 6 miles, you switch over to another interstate.
Right.
Like you're on 33, then you're on 22, then you're on 19. Then
you must have been coming from Florida.
I was going to Tallahassee.
Okay, yeah.
And it had been raining. It was kind of drizzling still. But when I tell you it came like out of like poof, it was there. Because I was looking straight ahead. It wasn't like I was goofing off. I wasn't texting. I wasn't goofing off. I wasn't fixing the radio or anything. I'm just driving and it was there, this animal. And the first thing that I noticed was that the animal's height was higher than the hood. And anybody that's ever been in an accident or anything understands your brain speeds up.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so immediately when I saw it in that quick moment, my brain said, oh yeah, I remember all these stories people talk about these big animals. They'll tear your car up like they're way heavier than you think. And you hit them like that and they'll fly into the windshield and all that. So my mind processed all that stuff in that moment.
Yes.
So then I tried to turn and miss it. When I turned, it just started skidding. I tried to get control, but I quickly understood I had no control over the car. So, and I was on the highway, the street first, but then it just went down this ravine or hill or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, it was like a drop. And I went down and I tried to reach up and grab the steering wheel again. As I was praying, let me just make sure you understand this. The praying started as soon as I saw that animal. And so the praying continued. Then I grabbed the steering wheel again and I said, I can't. This is making no difference.
Yes.
And the car was going like
Jesus, take the wheel.
Jigging, just going like swing. And it was moving fast because the grass was wet. And I was just like praying and it was going. And I tried to hit the brake and that didn't work and all that stuff. And then I heard this gloom. And then it kept sliding and then finally came to a rest. And when it came to a rest, I was still praying. And I kind of, I said, okay, calm down, dude. I'm good. I'm all right. Then I realized
That's
after
amazing.
I absorbed that I was all right,
Mhm.
then I said, oh shoot, I'm in the car. So
Mhm.
then I started getting those faculties back. I was like, okay. Now I looked around and there was nothing around me but trees and bushes, and the car was embraced, like both sides of the car and the back car was just pressed up against with woods and trees and limbs, and just pressed up against car. And I looked at it, and then I finally looked forward, and I said, it was like I could see straight forward, but it was so black dark out there, I couldn't see anything. So I was like, wait a minute. So, but the car was still running. So some kind of way, I guess, when I was trying to move and steer, I turned the lights out. So I realized I was sitting over there in the dark. So I was like, okay. So I turned the lights on. And I was like, man. And then I was like, but I'm okay. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And then I said, okay, let me look and see where I am.
Wow.
And then I looked out the window. I took my phone and I looked out the window, and I said, man, I'm in water. And I was like, wait a minute. Let me figure out whether I'm sinking or not, because it was just water. And I was like, yeah, let me put the T in it this time. Water. And so I kept looking and looking, and I was like, wow. So I realized the car wasn't singing. So then I said, okay. And then I also said, as I was saying, okay, about the water, I was like, well, I ain't getting out, because it could be lions and tigers and bears out here. Because I didn't know what was going on out here. I'm like, I'm in the woods and then in the swamp, and I don't know what's out here. It could be alligators, anything. I mean, I'm getting close to Florida, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So I tried to call the 911, and the lady was like, I can't make it out, sir. I was like, I just had an accident. I skidded off the road. I'm in some woods. I mean, I'm in the woods and I can't see anything but woods and some water. I'm sitting in water and I can hear the water now, like trying to come in the car and all that stuff. I said, but the car doesn't feel like it's singing. And she was like, well, we're going to get somebody here. But where are you? I said, I don't know where I am. I said, but I'm okay. And then literally it was about 8 minutes. And people, 8 minutes is a long,
it felt like hours.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you sitting out there like that and don't know where in the heck you are. And especially then I started thinking in my mind, because I've driven this road before, I know it stretches when you might see one house, two houses, three, then it'd be 10-mile stretch where there's nothing on either side but grass, trees, and wood, and water. And I'm like, I don't know which one of those stretches I'm in, because it's just black. So I was sitting there and I'm praying. Then I said, oh, turn the lights on. So the lights came on. So I started blinking the lights and blowing the horn, and blinking the lights and blowing the horn, and blinking the lights and blowing the horn, and horn. And I was like, man, I just kept praying, kept blowing. And I sat back. I was like, well, God, I just, I kept blinking the lights. And then I remembered to put the hazard lights on so I could quit doing the motion with my arm, because I was just blinking and blinking. So I put the hazard lights on. And then I was like, okay, let me just try to figure out something. So I sat there a little longer and I tried to call the 911 back again. And then I saw a light come up, and I heard somebody say, is anybody in that car? And only when that person said that is when I thought to see if what was working on the car. So then I reached over and rolled the window to see if the window would roll down. It did. So I was like, hey, I'm in here. I'm all right. He says, no way are you all right. You got to be in shock. He said, whatever you do, don't move. We're going to come help you. We're going to come help you. I said, look, I'm okay. He says, no, you can't be okay. I see where you just came from and the way you got down here. There's no way. He said, sir, you just probably in shock. He said, just be still. Help is on the way. Help is on the way. So he said, I'll be right back. I let him run to my truck. So he ran to his truck and he came back. He said, I had to go get my boots on because you're sitting in water. And I don't know how deep it is. So I went and got my rubber boots. So he came over to my door and he pushed like the branches off the car, and we opened the door, and he says, "You okay?" I said, "I'm fine." He said, "There ain't no way you okay." He said, you just be still, be still. Help is on the way. Help is on the way. I said, "Man, I'm covered. I'm fine." I said, "I already know what happened here." I said, "God came and protected me." I said, "So I'm good." Yeah, I said, "I ain't worried about nothing. I'm good." He said, "No, man, just be still." So the paramedic got there, the volunteer fireman first. And he was like, "Hey, you all right?" I was like, "Man, I'm good. I'm fine." He says, "There is no way you're fine." He said, "You're just probably in shock, sir. If you understand me, just be." He said, "I do this for a living. There's no way. I see where you came from and how you got it. There's no way." I said, "Sir, I promise you, I'm fine." He said, "I do this for a living. There's no way." He said, "Just be still till we." I said, "I'm fine." He said, "We got to assess it." I said, "I'm fine." And the little paramedic guy, and then the cop came, and they were asking me. I said, "I'm fine." I said, "Look, man, I'm fine." I said, "God got me covered." The little guy, the first guy that got there, I heard him talking. He said, "Man," he said, "My wife said, I hear something." And he said, "No, that's probably one of the alarms going off on some of my farm equipment." And she said, no, baby, it's coming from over there." And they said they looked over there and it was just dark. And so, and I guess that's before, I'm sure that's before I turned the light back on.
Right.
And then finally they saw the light and he ran over. And then, so they were talking about it. And then finally I said, "Look, since you all are here, I'll get out of the car now." So I got out of the car and the water came up to my knee.
Wow.
And when I stepped in the water, it sucked my shoe off, right?
Oh, wow. That's what happened to your cowboy boots?
No, I did not have on my car. Hey, I promise you, first thing I thought was, glad I don't have my cowboy boots on. Because I had on my other little shoes, the little rubber driving shoe.
You'd have been crying if you had them cowboy boots.
I would have, yeah. And so I got it, and I reached down in the water, pulled my shoe back out of the water, and walked up there with my little soggy feet. And I got to the top of the road, and I was standing around these people. "You all right? You got it?" And I was like, "Look, I'm fine." And then I started doing a little dance. I said, "Look, man, I'm just praising God right now." I said, "I know he got something for me to do. I don't know what it is, but I'm listening better now. I know, because I started looking. Then I started looking. To this point, I hadn't looked. Then I looked and saw where I got on, started down the hill, and I was like, man.
How far did you go down, Johnny?
About 70 yards. I said, nothing but God.
70 yards.
After I hit, like, I was like doing like this. But when I got right near the pole, it just went straight.
Okay.
And that's when my mirror on my side hit the pole and flipped out like that. And so the car came that close to the pole. And it was not a telegram pole with a light on it. It just had big wires on it. And so I was taking all that in. I'm looking, I'm like, Jesus. And so then the dude said, man, he said, you must be prayed up. He said, because we've seen this more times than we wanted to. Ain't no explanation for you to be not hurt like you, but God, like you say, sir. And the other man said, yeah, we were just coming from church. And my wife said, somebody's over there. So after that point, I'm like, okay. So then it got around to the car. They like, well, do you live around here? I said, no, I'm from Macon. He says, well, you know anybody? I said, no. He says, well, you need to try and call somebody because your car might be totaled. I said, well, we'll just have to see. And it wasn't because I was thinking of it in like a material possession or something like that. It was because we have to see answer came from what God had already brought me through. I said, well, if he can do this for me, he knows all the stuff that goes into me needing that car to go see my brother, to go to work, to go do all these. So that's why I kind of had this peace about it. So he said, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know about trying to get her. He said, you got insurance that'll send you a car. And they already had started moving forward with that idea. And I said, well, I don't know. I said, how much is it going to cost to get the car if you pull it out? And he was like, yeah, I don't think you need to be too concerned about that now. I said, well, it's an actuality. I got to be. And he says, well, we'll get to that. And one of the guys that came with the tow service was the stepson of the guy that owned the towing service.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, man, he said, you should have called the towing service instead of the cops, because they're going to charge a reconnaissance fee more than if you had called. And I was like, well, I ain't worried about that. I just want to get the car out, at this point. He says, okay. So they got the tow truck, and the one tow truck couldn't do it. So they had to call in another truck because of the way the car was in the mud and all that stuff. So they got 2 trucks. So they finally pulled the car out. All the time that we was from the wreck and from the time they got me out, it never rained again. When they started, we were waiting on the second tow truck, and it started to rain again. And everybody got in the car, and I was standing out there. I got up under like the little lift part, and as soon as it started raining, the tow truck the second one came over the hill, and I was like, thank God. Pulled the car out, and the man was like, I don't know, son. I don't know. I don't know, son, about you driving the car. And I said, well, somebody said something. I said, well,
it says Anthony Amos said, tell the Falcons to replace your vehicle.
Okay. But now here's the deal. So when the car came out, it was all looking all shoddy and stuff. And I was like, okay. So he says, well, I know you want to drive your car. He says, but it's been down in the water. I don't think it'll crank up. So I said, well, just let me try it. It cranked right up. And so then he said, well, you going to try to drive it? I said, yeah, man. So I got in and I put it in park driving and pulled up and I put it in reverse and all. And they said, well, they charged me the fee that they charged me, which was less than the $500, $280. And I had that much with me.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? He said, no, actually, he said $275. I had $280. I gave him the $280. I said, you ain't got to give me no $5 back. So I got in the car and as I was, started driving about 5-10 minutes, then I started hearing a sound. I was like, oh man. And then when I finally got to a lighted area, I looked up and it was a branch stuck up on the car. Took me about 20 minutes, but I put it out. Got to where I was going. Of course, the car was all muddy, tore up and messed up. And I knew in my brain, I said, well, when I go wash it, that's when all these scratches are going to be shown. And, there's a paint job. Ain't a scratch on that car.
You know what, though?
Ain't a scratch on that
I saw
car.
the picture. You sent me.
I saw the pictures and I was just amazed. Anthony says, don't worry about it. It really was just like, he was like, don't blame it on the animal. It was the Falcons that you.
He said, you were just watching the Falcons game. Don't blame all that on the animal. Tell the truth and shame the devil. That last Saints touchdown ran you off the road. Stop playing with me.
No.
The last quarter seemed like it was forever.
No. It wasn't yesterday, Anthony. It was Sunday before yesterday.
When they lost the other game?
No. They played on Monday that time. So it was certainly, I will say this, that the car is the color of the Falcons colors, and it survived.
Maybe you could, we were talking about, what was love. See, that's love right there.
Oh man, listen.
That's love. You know what I'm saying, Emily? That's
grace.
Real love.
Yeah.
Because we were saying, what is real? Real love is how you are treated.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I ain't no doubt about it.
And how were you treated?
Man.
It wasn't even deserved. You know what I'm saying?
And the people that came were so wonderful as well. And it was ironic that the first person that came to my aid said we were coming home from church.
You better say that thing.
Said we had just gotten home from church and we were getting out the car. And my wife kept saying, baby, I hear something over there.
But you know what, though? You better strike a hymn up on that one.
Listen.
Were these were Caucasians or?
My brothers and sisters. They
Wow,
happened
that's
to be
amazing.
Caucasian, but they were my brothers and sisters in
That's
Christ.
amazing.
They,
Well, that goes to my point about the love. True love sees no color. That was
Man.
why I
You know,
asked.
and true love,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. That's what I wanted to kind of get into, because I was like, you hear all these people talk about "I love you" and
Mhm.
yeah, and I don't know what it is,
Yes,
but
and that is a perfect segue into today's topic.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it's like you can't love somebody and
Mhm.
treat somebody all kind of ways.
You won't.
You just
Mhm.
cannot.
we won't do it.
Oh my gosh, I was just having this conversation with my husband about you have to show love. Like I can tell you all day long, I love you, I love you, I love
Mhm.
you.
Right.
But showing it is what lets me know and what lets, others know that you truly do love them. It's showing it. You can say it 1,000 times.
you can say
but-
you can make your mouth say anything.
But
Yeah,
that's
love
what
is
they
sacrifice.
showed you
Yeah.
was
Oh,
true
yeah.
love, because a lot of times we are taught to mind our own business. And when you think about it, when you put things in hindsight with what happened with your accident, what if those people would have just minded their own business?
Oh,
What if their wife
absolutely.
would have just said,
Oh, yeah.
I think I hear some of the husband like, oh babe, let's go to bed or let's
Or-
have
or-
dinner.
or
Don't
when-
worry about
You
it.
know, and we're so quick sometimes.
You know
talk
what I'm
about
saying?
white people.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
do
say
know what you're
this.
saying.
You know, we're
Mhm.
so quick, white people. But Tara,
Mm-hmm.
when they didn't care what color you were.
Oh no.
Right.
It was beyond that. That's why I hate group talk. Group
Mhm.
thinking, group talk.
Mhm.
White people this, white people that. White people, you can't put it all on white people
Mhm.
sometimes.
No, when I go to the ATM, I ain't looking for white people. I ain't scared. I ain't looking for color people. I'm looking for black, white, blue, anybody
But you know,
could be bringing me home.
But
I ain't.
I am just
Mhm.
amazed at love. And I said, what is love? People say, Brenda, you and Henry talk real hard to each other. Me and Henry always go back and
having
forth.
jokes and having fun.
But
Mhm.
people think, someone on the outside says, what, you disrespectful to Henry. I'm like, no. What you don't
It's like
understand.
we have an understanding.
And when you love somebody, and it's all about real love,
Yeah.
like I love you guys.
Yeah.
You all show love when y'all come here. And be a part of it. That's real love.
We love you too,
Oh,
Brenda.
thank you.
Aww.
And it's in take up your kind. What he talking about right here?
That's between us. Now,
Oh,
keep going now.
So stay
Lord.
focused.
Oh, I got that. I just saw it, and I do understand because Brenda is Caucasian herself, and that's all.
But you know what though? I am 23%. But let me tell you about that. 23%. When Henry was sick,
Colonizer.
when Henry was
Slave
sick,
owner.
that cousin of mine, that white cousin, figured out a way to send him vodka in the mail and made him that cough syrup. And she figured out a way. It ain't funny, but it's
They
funny.
call those concoctions.
She did.
Right.
She took it, made that stuff up, and took it and put it in a red package. So it looked like it was some like a Christmas present. She sat up there and thought about how to send it to him and sent it. But now she sends me flowers.
That's
when I'm
beautiful.
sick.
Mhm.
I mean, and we were just talking about it today. It was a hot tide for real.
Mhm.
And but just how you can love somebody. And she is the descendants of a colonizer. She
Mhm.
know it.
Mhm.
But and she know that she's blood with me.
Mm.
And I said, we should really talk about how can she love me and I love her, knowing what she did in the past.
Mhm.
And love is different for different people. Love means different things to different people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like you said, when people look at you and Henry's relationship, they're, I couldn't talk to my husband like that, or I wouldn't let my wife talk to me like that. But like what you and him consider love is different than what maybe me and Raymond consider love, what Johnny considers love. Like, it's just different for everybody. It's a hard thing. Even when you came up with the topic, I said, this is a good topic, but it's such a loaded topic. How do you know what true love is?
You want to know when you know? The soul knows.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
The
Yeah.
soul knows when it's
Absolutely.
love. You know what I'm saying? Johnny, it's that thing on the inside.
Mhm.
And you can't describe it. but you know that it's there because it touches you in a very, very special place.
But
right. When Johnny looks in the mirror and I just love my hair.
No, I was just over here having fun. But I think sometimes, like you were saying earlier, Emily, that love comes in a lot of different ways of manifesting itself. And sometimes I think that we get emotions confused with love.
Yes.
And because the greatest love of all was provided through sacrifice of giving one's life for all of us. It wasn't about emotion.
Oh, well, then that's interesting.
On the cross, it was about the act of sacrifice. And so, with that being said, then I think that we have gotten confused as a people over the last few generations about love. Because we get it confused with words, reaffirmation,
absolutely,
emotion.
Absolutely.
Because the last few generations, when you couldn't spank people anymore. Because see, they made spanking people be about not being about love when when those parents used to say, this is gonna hurt me.
That was a lie.
I know.
That was a lie.
Stop it.
Hey,
Hold on.
That was a big old lie.
That's what I'm talking about, the physical.
Because
it wasn't about the physical.
When my mama planted up that Chinaberry switch.
I'm not gonna get off my topic here. It wasn't about the physical. That's not what they meant. What they meant was it's gonna hurt. See, they didn't want to have to give you that pain, but they knew that because they loved you, that if I don't teach this kid that you cannot stick your finger in a wall socket, and I've told them 1,000 times, let me give them this pain.
But
and so I'm saying the you can't whip your children out. I think all of those things, that was about love. In a lot of households.
And I'm going back to what I see, love, and I'm just going to say love growing up. Emily, I can't ever remember my daddy saying he loved me. I never remember Emily Sutton saying that.
But that's not what men did back then.
But what my daddy did, though, was that he showed love.
Yeah.
And he was love by making sure
provider.
He was a provider. He was a good provider, made sure we had a roof, never had to worry about, the lights being turned off, the waters being turned off, us being put outside. I remembered the same phone number that we had, which
I still do remember.
You know what I'm saying?
It never got turned off.
It was about, like your granddaddy, everything was consistent with him. You know what I'm saying? Because that was love. And those people, it was a different kind of thing. But I think you brought up an interesting point, which I want to bring up this point. Some people confuse love with control.
Yeah.
And so they say they love you, but that ain't what that really means.
Yeah.
That means that I control you. That's what that means.
Yeah.
That's ooh. Listen.
Emily, why is you shaking your hands over there?
Sister Emily.
Oh,
because that one is like deep. That whole control issue,
man.
That I love you so much that I want to know your every move. I love you so much that I want to go with you everywhere you go. I love you so much that I don't want you to go anywhere alone or do anything. I need to know all your passwords. That's control.
Wait. I love you so much that I don't want to share you
with other people. Yeah.
With other people.
Yeah.
Now that right there, that's that control thing I'm talking about.
Who is it? Do you think that's more of the weight of a woman or a man?
Both of them.
You do?
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of men that are very much controlling, and see, some people slick control. See,
That's how it's what's narcissism.
And let me tell you what slick control is. They kind. They'll do things for you. Oh yes, they will.
I think men wanting to be left alone. They just don't want to be by themselves.
No.
They want you in the room.
I agree with you.
Men want to be left alone. They just don't want to be by themselves.
Because I love my husband. My husband. It's funny that you say that, because I joke with him about this all the time. I say we can be at home all day just chilling. He's doing whatever he's doing. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Right. And the minute I get my keys and I'm going to the grocery store, whatever. Where you going? Why you did it? And I'm like, no, you wasn't studying me all day until I decided to leave.
We just want to be left alone.
Know that I'm there.
But we don't want to be by ourselves.
Right. As long as I'm there.
Like we could be in there watching TV, right? Watching football or something.
Right.
And then, we're in there chilling, just, it's so comfortable watching football. And then here she comes and she says, what are you looking at? What's that, football? Who's playing? Oh, it's so hot in here. Turn that ceiling fan on. Okay. What you eating? You eating Cheetos? You need something to eat. Let me go ahead and fix you a sandwich on rye bread. And then now, let me sit next to you. Let me put my legs around your leg. Now you sitting there like a pretzel. She done turned the ceiling. Now you wrapped up like a pretzel. You got the ceiling fan done got turned. You didn't want it on. Now you eating a sandwich that's dry with no mayonnaise or nothing on it like that. And so, but you was cool while you don't want her to leave you alone. You just want to be by yourself sometimes.
But and that's okay.
You don't want her to leave you alone, but you want her to leave you alone.
I want to be by myself, but I don't want you to. But I want you somewhere right around me.
Let me use my big word. That's ambiguous.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Spell it. I'm gonna do what y'all did to me. Spell it. Ambiguous. A-M-B. What's the rest, Brenda?
I don't know phonics.
Ambiguous.
But still, though, we got to do some research, because I really don't think. Now, not males. I'm not saying males.
Right.
I'm saying men. Most men, I don't want to look in your cell phone and see who your contacts are.
That's not true. I don't
believe that.
We're talking about love.
Thumbs up.
I don't believe that.
We're talking about love. And the reason why I brought it up, because I just see so much. And people tell these lies. You doing this, and you ain't doing that in the name of love. I don't know what you're doing it in. That's why I say it's control sometimes.
You're right about that part.
And what is love? And so if you're treating somebody like crap, and for all of our listeners, if somebody's not treating you well, you shouldn't put up with that.
Right. Again, I say,
go to a counselor. I'm gonna put this out here. Go to a counselor.
Yeah. I'm an advocate for that.
Go to a counselor, and if you can't get to a counselor, get to your pastor. But talk to somebody. Do not be in a toxic relationship and then let them use that L word to mess up your mind.
Because that is used for trickery a lot.
Oh yeah, it's a straight trick word.
Yeah.
It's a straight trick.
That's it. I mean, love can be like confusing, because it's like, they'll say that just to, because they think that's what you want to hear. And it's like, it's like it's really a loaded question.
Yeah, they use love for manipulation.
Oh yeah.
The word.
It is. And with a woman, especially women, now we use it all the time. I love you.
And I love that hat. I just love those shoes. I just love that dress.
And don't love nothing.
Right.
And don't love nothing. Or let me just say this. Or I love my brother, and you don't call him. You don't check on him. You don't care if he's sick.
Yeah.
And all these things, but yet and still you tell me that you love this. I don't know who you love or what you love, but that kind of love is toxic and crazy to me.
Yeah, and it's misleading a lot of things, because a lot of times people consider love or think you love them because of what you do. And then, but like, okay, you got this guy over here.
Right.
Or this lady. Let me quit making it, what do y'all call it, gender bias. So let me say, here's this lady. She's got $100 million. And somebody says, you know what? She comes by here and she buys us food and she pays our light bill or whatever she does. And then here's this lady over here who's makes $1,000 a month on her job. But when this family needs something, she goes over and gives it to them. And so the $100 million lady does a lot more, you know, that you can see, like she's buying them a car. But the lady that made the sacrifice is the one that's doing it out of love. Let me just, you follow what I'm saying?
I don't know.
This lady over here does things that people associate with love. They say, well, she paid her college tuition. She paid this. They'll call that love when it really wasn't love. It was just because she had $100 million and she and she did it because it's a write-off, or she did it because it's something like that.
Let me ask you this. Can it not be one and the same?
I didn't say it couldn't. I'm just saying oftentimes people consider
let me go back,
simply
Johnny.
Because you do something for them, it's love. It's not always love.
Sometimes, but you know what though? Let me just say this. When people do things and they do things and it's showy, see, that's why I have to really work at Christmas. I say, because you got all these people out here doing showy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you know, if when you do something, you're supposed to just do it and not really be showy with it. So I have challenges with that. And I do. I really do. And, you know, pray for me. You know, my listeners, pray for me, because I just think you're supposed to do just out of love. And it's not for anybody. That's right. It could be out of obligation. Some sort of, you know, some sort of obligation. Reginald, what you mean? What?
That's Raymond.
Raymond.
No, that's Anthony.
He said, Anthony said, yep, could be out of obligation.
But that's Raymond saying what?
Oh, somebody said, and men are jealous too. And yes, they are very jealous. You know what? And you know what? I'm agree with you. I got a little gray dress with a little thing on the bottom of it. And I got out the car, and Mr. Henry saw me in that little dress. He said, I didn't know I could be jealous like that. I said, Henry, I'm with you. Messed him up.
Brenda, we're going to talk about this off air.
Oh my God.
We're going to talk about this off air. I'm going to help you, and we're going to move on from that gray dress.
I'm just talking about, it depends. That gray dress was cute. I'm going to put it on.
You had on one of them Baptist dresses, did you?
Oh, yes, sir, buddy. But anyway.
I'm hiding my head in shame. So listen, okay, so
you know the love thing. No, the love thing is crucial, and the reason why it's the beginning of the year, and we're starting out right now. A lot of the murders and things like that are going on right here in this city. Women, relationships, or whatever are behind a lot of that mess, and people are using that L word just to make folk jealous. And that's why a lot of people do it. That's why a lot of these young people,
Or to keep them in control. You said the word love, and keep people in control.
Yeah, it's all about control, and it's about, let me see. If I say I love you, then that means I get to tell you what to do, and just no, I don't get to tell you what to do because I love you. I need to respect you. Love to me means respect.
And I agree with you about that 1,000%.
Because a lot of women may get mad at me, but a lot of us like to tell men what to do.
I think that's a natural thing, because even when you think about, I'm telling you, the way when you're raised, your mother raises you, you know, this is how a house is supposed to be ran. This is what's supposed to be done. Yeah. So I think it's naturally put in us, I can only speak for myself, from a young age, you are raised as a female to be that. I don't like to say controlling, but for lack of a better phrase, to control, because you got to make sure the children are fed. You got to make sure the house is clean. You got to make sure there's a hot meal. You got to make sure da-da-da-da-da. So the nature, the controlling nature, I feel is inbred in us, in women from a young age. So we don't do it out of the fact that we want to control your every move. It's inbred in us to do that. Because we're naturally nurturers. We want to take care. We want to make sure that you're okay. And I think that sometimes comes across as we're trying to control. And it's not like, no, you know, when you break it down, it's like, well, I'm not trying to control you. I just want to make sure you're okay.
But you know,
I want to make sure everything is straight.
And let me just tell you.
But you're speaking of a mother, aren't you?
No,
I think just as a female, period. I think that
can't be as a female, because there's some women don't care. Flip.
Well, I mean,
you know, and let me just say
true. That's true.
You know, men. Someone says soulfully hurt. I ain't got my glasses.
Soulfully hurt said men pay attention to everything.
And by the way, and let me just tell you one other thing. Henry says this all the time. Women are confusing.
I agree.
We wishy-washy. We go this way, that way,
Jimmy
up,
said,
down,
yeah.
all around.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jimmy said, you got that right. and with that, guys, and I'm saying it on the air, they're not that complicated. They're real simple.
I would agree.
They're real simple. Like, give them some bread and some collard greens to eat, and they're like, aren't you really happy when you get your food?
I am.
And that's really,
and I'm ecstatic if you've got some tomatoes to go with it.
and I think that we, women, we think, we're really, we think a lot, we analyze a lot.
And I think it's because we're under an immense amount of pressure to be everything that society says that we're supposed to be everything that our man wants us to be everything we need to be for our children. So in turn, I think that comes across as us controlling because society puts us in this.
But by the way,
and we love. Again, I can only speak for myself. We love our husbands. We love our children. We love, our families. So that feeling of, I want to make sure everybody's okay. That comes from just society in itself, the way we were raised. And so it comes across as controlling when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, it doesn't come from a controlling place. And I learned that through marriage counseling that me and my husband, went through. And because my husband used to say the same thing, but when you actually dive deep into where that energy comes from, you realize it's not from a controlling place whatsoever.
Well, but one of the things, Sheila just said men are slower than women, so we have to step up to the plate, and that really is true. Because
you mean by slower? You mean we walk slower?
No,
like you all walk
all of the above.
You mean you walk at a faster pace?
No,
what are you really saying, Shirley?
All of the above.
Shirley, you are right. Don't pay no attention to Deacon do wrong because he low down.
What are you saying, Shirley?
She is saying that we think circles around you. Because really and truly, women, I think all the time. And now Henry think, but he has to sit there. He had this blank stare on his face. I said, "What's wrong, honey?"
But Brenda, Shirley, what I think happens is you all, like, if I ask, "What time did you get here?" You'll say, "Well, I went by my mama's house, and then I went and picked up the laundry." And then, yes, a lot of them do.
Go ahead.
Yes, they do. And then, what I ask, if you ask me, "What time did you get here, Johnny?" I'll say 5 o'clock. But you ask a lot of women, they start telling you all this stuff. And that goes into all that extra thinking you all do because you weave this web, but you're so busy weaving webs all the time.
Oh, here we go.
Would that be? Would that be?
No, what I'm saying is, she's saying we are slower. We're not slower. We're just to the point.
I think
like that comes with.
Okay, I will agree with you.
We're to the point. We don't want to go to, if why we got to go out to dinner, to the movies, on the trip, when you knew what the end was going to be from the beginning.
Hold on. Let me say why. I agree with you in part. I'm going to tell you why what you're saying is exactly 100% true.
Okay.
It's because y'all don't have to do the thinking. We do. So you don't have to worry about how the trip is going to get planned because we plan it. We book the hotel. We book the rental car. We get everybody dressed. We go and buy the outfits. We do all that. All we want you to do is say, "What time we leaving, babe?" 5 o'clock. Because that's all you have to do.
All we want you to do, listen what you say. You say you plan the trip, you plan the hotel, you plan the flight, right?
Right.
Never did I once hear you say, "We pay for the flight. We pay for the..."
No.
So if we're going to pay for it, we want you to do all that planning.
No,
we don't want to do the planning and pay for it.
No. Nice trip, because a lot of times I will pay for it. But on the times that I don't pay for it, I don't want to hear you say, "Well, let's go over here and stay at the Motel 6."
Because if you're paying for it, if you're paying for it, you're in control, and you don't want me to tell you where to stay.
You that
but if
right.
a man is paying for it, it's all right for you to tell us where to stay.
That's right. And let me just say,
that's just the nature of how things go, sir.
This is real talk. Henry books the hotel.
Yeah.
Henry books the hotels because
listeners, we just having fun.
You know what though, and you know why? Because Henry Williams, Henry Williams, you may be listening, so you can go ahead and chime in. I know you don't know how to text that fast because you have to think.
Don't do my hand like that.
But
you got to get off Henry now.
I know, don't do my hand.
Now that's when you get this army against you. Then, brother.
Look at.
Don't do my hand.
Henry know that it need to be. What is that? Like a 4-star. If it ain't 4-star, don't put me up in there. Cause I got an attitude.
See, that's how. No, my husband says I'm bougie when I do that. Like
I am bougie.
Hey, check this out.
And I don't care if I'm bougie.
Brenda.
Now, some of that stuff, and I got bougie hair too.
Today you do now. Yes, you do. Bougie. But Brenda, who is this Shirley Lester lady? She said we don't think we can't pay either.
That's right. And by the way,
that says everything that I'm talking
Henry
about.
Williams, I can pay.
She's just digging a hole for herself.
I can pay. But let me just tell you this.
Why don't you pay then?
Because Henry Williams is a real man. Because
so your manhood is judged now by if you pay or not.
That's right. I don't care what y'all say.
Oh my God!
You know what? That is a conversation. That's a topic for next week.
I ain't studying all that stuff y'all talking about. Henry Williams, no. In fact, Henry Williams from old school, he don't believe in women doing stuff like that for him. He really don't. Henry go out there now. He's sitting at home right now working. When yes, right? You said it. Yeah, they should always offer to pay.
So if the man can't pay, does that mean that he doesn't love you if he can't afford to take you on a trip?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
But does that mean you're gonna love him if he can't pay? That's the bigger question.
But all I'm saying is this: when I
agree, Shirley.
Call me spoiled.
Who is Shirley Lester?
It may be my cousin so I need you to be careful with how you phrase.
Who is Shirley Lester?
It could be my cousin because I'm a Lester.
We ain't scared of Shirley Lester.
No, listen, Shirley Lester.
Shirley.
We are not. We don't hold it against you because you're fast thinkers. So what?
You know what it is.
Anthony said it means he needs to step up his game.
What does Anthony need to buy? Who's Anthony? Who needs to step up their game, Anthony?
I said, what if the man can't afford? Brenda said that Henry does pays and books all the hotels or whatnot. I said, well, what happens if the man can't afford to pay for the vacation? Does that mean he doesn't love you? Anthony said it means he needs to step up his game.
And by the way, I just think that a lot of men, see, they done got into
Anthony need to find something safe to do on Mondays.
No.
He is gonna be a part of this staff one way or another.
That's right.
Because he is every Monday he just sitting there, but got a whole hour to just write.
That's right. Come through, Anthony. Come through.
Anthony means he's gonna be a part of this show. Anthony ain't got nothing to do.
Sounds like a
hater.
Anthony ain't got nothing to do on Mondays from 5:30 to 6:30.
That's right. That's exactly.
Ain't nobody studying you. The bottom line.
That's what we want. We want loyal followers and listeners. We appreciate you, Anthony.
Anthony ain't never listening. Anthony's just trying to be heard every Monday.
By the way, G Mama, I got you.
Who is G Mama?
Shirley.
That's what I'm talking about. Who is Shirley Lester?
That ain't your business.
We need to know who you are because we love you, Shirley Lester.
You know what? Bottom line.
Oh, we can't get Anthony. We don't love Anthony.
We love Anthony.
Hey, man.
We love everybody. Soulfully, her, Shirley, Anthony.
Who else we got?
What about our people on the radio?
Yeah, our listeners.
You know what? Because if y'all on the way home, y'all done got some funny. But
we've been having fun today, y'all.
You know what though? The bottom line is, I wanted to talk about love because it's so important that we understand that love is love means that you can love the faculties even though they're losers.
Hey, let me give you a clue here, Anthony and Amos. Let me give you a clue. I would like to just give a big shout out to the man who allows us to do this show every week, Henry Williams.
Yes.
Happens to be a loyal Falcon fan. So if you really do have cerebral gifts, you might ought to watch your language there, buddy. If you're bucking to be a fourth member here, you might ought to think about who you keep picking on.
You know what? Henry loves, our little granddaughter. Our little granddaughter says to her granddad, and she says, "Granddad, it's okay if you lose sometimes." I thought Henry, and she did. She just
Now y'all got to bring the babies into it.
of course, she's a little girl too.
That's
And
just low down, Brenda.
Of course, I'm low
But
down.
she gotta let you. It's okay, Granddaddy, if you lose.
That's
You know them Falcons just had a bad couple of
See,
years.
I knew she was gonna chime in.
And by the way, and all I'm saying is that
That's all right, Henry. We're gonna remain loyal fans.
Hey.
And see, a Falcon fan is the best man you could ever have because he shows you just because you don't look like you used to look no more, just because you don't wear them jeans like you used to wear those jeans, that don't mean I ain't gonna love you no more. I'm gonna keep on loving you, baby. So get you a Falcon fan for a man.
Well, you know what?
Beat that one.
I ain't gonna beat it because
beat that one.
You know what, Johnny, you so low down. Johnny, you so low down.
I'm just saying.
And you know what? Before we go, Jimmy, what do you think about love? Because he's young. I be.
Yeah, we have
going
young
back
Jimmy
and
here.
forth. It's
We have
so
young
funny.
Jimmy here today, saxophone extraordinaire.
He said that love was confusing, baby.
It can be confusing.
Well, they playing the music.
They
now.
playing us off. So say something real quick in the mic.
It's just really confusing. It's just like I said, it's a loaded question, so it's kind of hard. Like I can't explain it now because we ain't got really much.
We ain't got much time. But
I don't think he could ever explain this generation's conversation of
about
love.
I don't even know if they know how to explain their conversation about love.
This is love for them with the cell phone
Ain't
taking
right.
selfies.
You've been listening to All of a Sudden. Join them every Monday evening.
We have fun with everybody
Yes,
today.
we
Thank
love
you
you
soulfully,
guys.
her.
Next Monday,
Every Monday. We'll see you.
join
The
us.
views expressed
Tune
on
in
this
and share
program
this
are not
love video.
necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.